Alright, what is up everybody? Joe Dobby here. I'm doing a deck profile on this yellow-purple deck that I made. If you look through my playlist, I have a Matt and TK Ishida deck that is yellow-purple. But realistically, I had to come up with a yellow-purple deck that was based on what I got from my unboxing videos, basically, from the boosters that I got. So I'm just gonna get started. For Tamers, I am running. I got 1 Pagumon and 4 Yamon. So Pagumon, for when attacking, trash the top card of your deck. Pretty good card, but I don't really want to be trashing cards in this deck, ironically for purple, which is why I only have the 1. What I am after is the 4 copies of Yamon, because when I do have 5 or more cards in my trash, I can get that extra DP, and one of the weaknesses of this deck is that it is lacking in the DP department. So yeah, I got 4 of those. I'm also running 3 copies of Devimon. 2 cost to play, 0 cost to evolve, 3k DP. Almost a no-brainer as far as rookies there. I've also got 3 copies of Gabumon for that extra draw power. Really good way to cycle through my deck without milling my cards, without discarding or trashing any of my cards and getting them back somehow. So Gabumon helps me increase the options that are available to me through the inheritable draw effect. I've also got 4 copies of Sukaimon, which is when destroyed, gain 1 memory. You have to play the memory game with this deck and be very conservative every turn. You have to drain your opponent of their ability to use memory, which is why that's how Sukaimon kind of recoups, because this deck is pretty expensive to play memory-wise. 3 copies of Tamers on trigger, just draw 1 when deleted. So more draw power there. Really no-brainer card to just play directly, because it's a 3 cost to play. It's a good opening turn, allows you to do a security check and get a free draw early game, so not bad there. For the champions, I'm running just the lone copy of Devimon, and you're probably wondering, what? Retaliation is so good, why are you only running 1 Devimon? Well, for a yellow-purple deck, you're gonna find out if you don't already know. Running 2 copies of Venomiotismon, which is your typical 5 cost to play, 2 to evolve, 6k DP blocker. So, eventually you're gonna need to be able to block some attacks. If I have Venomon out on the board, tendency is I won't digivolve the Venomon, I'll just leave it there for when I have to, when I have to block, I will. It also prevents a lot of rookies early game from running into security if you get it, so that's good. And this is why I only have 1 Devimon, because yellow with Wizardmon is amazing. So the effect is essentially all turns, if you have a yellow Digimon in play, Wizardmon gains retaliation. So essentially it's a Devimon for not only lower cost to play, but also provides a draw +1 on deletion. So as long as you have that yellow Digimon, Wizardmon will have that retaliate, which is really, really good. A lot of my opponents, when I put a yellow card down and they see the Wizardmon is almost the card that, they literally do their best to take out the yellow Digimon as soon as possible, so Wizardmon's retaliation effect is negated. Now we're into the yellow champions. Our first one is Anjaman. So Anjaman's really great because on play, one of your opponent's Digimon get minus 3000 DP for the turn. So great early game card to get rid of any rookies your opponent might have, just so they don't get to digivolve, especially if it's early and they haven't hatched an egg, or they got that rookie out on the field from the raising area. You can immediately take it out with Anjaman. Normally I'd be running 3, but it wasn't in the stars as far as pulls. So the other 2 level 4 Digimon in yellow that I'm running is Cessermon. And Cessermon's really cool because it's just a 4 cost to play, 2 to evo, 4k DP jamming Digimon. So, while I won't be able to take my opponent's Digimon out early game with 2 extra Anjaman, I can at least take security out and hopefully Cessermon will still be there for Wizardmon's retaliation effect. Now into the ultimate Digimon, I'm running 2 copies of Chimeramon. Good removal, good DP, 3 cost to Evo if I have to, but I'm more likely just going to be saving these guys for when I have to delete a level 5 Digimon of my opponents. Running 2 copies of Miotismon, your 2 cost to Evo, 7k DP ultimate. Really good for speeding up and getting to the Venomiotismon as soon as possible, so I have 2 copies of that. But what I have the most of is Garurumon, and the reason why is because you want to make sure that you're doing the most with your Megas, which in this case is Venomiotismon. So the inheritable effect is when attacking, I can delete one of my other Digimon to unsuspend this Digimon. So if I had a Venomiotismon on top, I could remove a Tapermon, draw a card, and reactivate Venomiotismon, which has security attack +1. So best case scenario, I can wipe out my opponent's security literally in like 1 turn. So pretty awesome. And now for the yellow ultimates, I have 2 Anjawaman. So because I only have 3 yellow champion Digimon, I'm only running 2 Anjawaman. This is more of a clutch card. When security is 3 or less, I can recover +1 off a Digivolve. So that's ultimately why she's there, just for recovery, just to come back and catch up if my opponent has a pretty good head start. And this card has so much value, and I'm so happy I have 3. Magna Angemon. So on play, it's recovery +1, and it provides 1000 DP for every 3 security I have as an inheritable effect. So early game Magna Angemon is great because he's hard to take out early game. You can hard play him, recovery +1, get up to 6 security, and have a 6k body that is also a yellow Digimon, so you can prep your Wizardmon in case your opponent tries to rush you and go for your security. You can retaliate back with the Wizardmon and Magna Angemon that's on the board. So really, really good card, and I'll show you how we can play around with this when I get into the Tamers. I am running 3 copies of Venomiotismon, security attack +1 as I mentioned earlier. In addition to that, during my opponent's turn, when one of your opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, gain +1 memory. I've actually won a few games by hard playing Venomiotismon's second turn because my opponent has a smaller hand, they're less likely to Digivolve and draw all kinds of things on their second or third turn, and giving them that much memory is ultimately, sometimes they end up passing because they just have too much memory and they can't use it. So Venomiotismon with Garurumon is really great. And the other pair of Megas that I have is Seraphimon. So Seraphimon adds more recovery when Digivolving, and on my turn, while I have 3 or more security cards, this Digimon gets security attack +1, and it just becomes such a force early game. Sometimes first turn I'll drop the Magna Angemon because I have a Seraphimon in my hand, and by second turn I've generated 2 cards in my recovery, 2 extra cards in my security, and I managed to take out 2 cards on my opponent's security by attacking with Seraphimon. So really, really awesome. I think it pairs well. It's kind of like an angel devil type deck. It's pretty cool. Options. I'm running 3 copies of Grizzly Wing or Night Raid. Play a level 3 purple Digimon from your trash without paying its cost. So there's a lot of playable cards here. I can bring out Tapermon mainly, but sometimes I'll bring out, Gabumon and then Digivolve on top of that, or I could get the Devimon just to have another body. So not bad there. For my 3 yellow options, I am running Holy Flame. So a lot of people don't necessarily like Holy Flame based on what I've experienced playing the game, but it feels really bad when someone attacks and does a security check and you Holy Flame them, especially if they have a board full of Digimon. So this has won me a few games actually. By having Holy Flame in my recovery, it's actually won me a few games, which is amazing. Its main effect is one of your opponent's Digimon gains security attack -3, but its security effect is so powerful. All of your opponent's Digimon gain security attack -1 for the turn, which means if your opponent has 5 Digimon on the board and they attack with one of them and you trigger Holy Flame, the rest of the Digimon for the rest of the turn will have security attack -1. So you could have this card is enough to stop a lethal blow to you, which is why I have 3 copies. And manipulation in this deck is going to be pretty good, which is why I like having 3 Holy Flame. Normally, like in the previous profile I had, I would have only 2, but 3 is pretty good for this one. I'm running 2 copies of this TK, which on my opponent's turn gives all my security Digimon plus 2000 DP. If I have TK out early game, it makes my opponent hesitate to attack with lower DP Digimon, to attack my security with lower DP Digimon because TK is out. 2000 DP is a really big boost, and to have 4000 DP once they're all out is really great. Like that for example takes Chimeramon all the way to 11k DP, which takes out your lower end DP Mega Digimon, like level 6 Digimon, so it's really good. And the manipulation part comes from TK. At the start of your turn, if you have 2 or less memory, yourself to 3 memory, and on play, look at your security stack, reveal 1 card in it, and add it to your hand. If it's yellow, recovery +1. So essentially, if it's yellow, you're just trading that yellow card from your security for another card that's on the top of your deck. But if it is a purple card, you just take the security hit, and hopefully the return on investment by taking that purple card is much better. There are situations where you're gonna want to take the yellow card. For example, if I had a Magna Angemon sitting in my security stack, I would love to take that out, play it, especially if I have a Seraphimon in my hand, and then just replace it with something else. Other times, I might want my Chimeramon from my security stack, and I'll just take the blow if it means I can take out one of my opponent's level 5 Digimon, or their only level 5 Digimon for that matter, so they don't even get to attack next turn, right? So very situational, but one of the things I like this card the most for is it allows me to look at my security and see if I have any Holy Flames in there. Because if I do, I'll at least know when to go all out offensive or when to kind of pace myself because of the presence of Holy Flame in my own security. In addition to that, being able to reshuffle my security is pretty good as well. So yeah, that's the deck, the yellow-purple deck. It's got a bit of control, it's got some retaliation board wipe, it's got a little bit of removal, it's got good recovery, and negates some attacks. So it's played pretty well. It's been a lot of fun. I've played against a Rust Tyrannomon deck and did fairly well. I played against a Gallantmon deck and did fairly well. I faced an Omnimon Turbo deck and went and then out of a best of 3 won twice in a row. So I love it. It's super fun, and thanks for watching. Peace.